that game took 5 years off of my life. Doesn't Big Sexy realize we're fighting for our playoff lives right now? You're allowed to miss the net and help Big Juice get another win and get us closer to the playoffs. You, on the Wild, have your playoff spot locked up. I'm not sure it works that way, but I like your rationale. Before you fly off the handle, Johnny, take a deep breath. Does someone somewhere have a voodoo doll collection of this roster? As always, not helping. I guess the season's over. So, that was the plan.
Why does it say placed on waivers?
Nothing said. I have to talk about dumb moves and a Pens front office. What the hell did I just watch? Do I really need to be here for this at this point?
I'm not having flashbacks to Game 4 against the Canucks last spring.
At this point, Johnny, you can just splice together old intros. Cue the intro.
Redemption take you home.
Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Minnesota Wild in the Preds' biggest game of the season to date, Game 80, by a final score of 2-1 Saturday afternoon inside Bridgestone Arena. Steven Stamkos' 40th goal of the season. Matthew Wood, the rookie, nears a 20-goal rookie campaign, and 21 huge saves by Annunen Saturday keeps the Preds in the playoff hunt. Now the biggest game of the season turns out to be Monday when San Jose comes to town. Last homestand of the season, possibly the Preds' last 3 games of the season they will play until next season, but we all hope the end is not just around the corner, that they will be playing games after this upcoming Thursday. Leading up to puck drop, a bit of a shocker for Preds Nation when it comes across social media that Bruno has decided to start Justus Annunen over UC Saros. Preds Nation, though, with a big sigh of relief as it is announced that Roman Josi, the captain, is ready to go, and this team needs all hands on deck and help on the out-of-town scoreboard to try and sneak back into the playoffs. I was hoping and praying about this game leading up to this one. The Wild have their playoff spot locked up. They have a minuscule chance of catching Dallas for second overall. You know, you don't have to try as hard in this game, especially with all the former Preds on the Wild roster. Chances both ways 6 minutes into the game. Wild would take the first penalty of the game. Marcus Foligno gets tagged for high-sticking Adam Wilsby. Preds with maybe a couple looks, not really good zone time, and eventually near the end, the Preds' rest of the power play gets negated because Steven Stamkos slashes Jeff Petrie. Not a favorable start. And then shortly thereafter, a parade to the penalty box continues as the Wild get tagged for too many men on the ice. Oh, John Hines with bad bench management of having too many men on the ice penalties taken against you. Oh, where have I seen that before? It's not going to be the first and only time this happens to the Wild in this game. Still scoreless, under 6 minutes left to go in the first period. Best chance for the Preds to this point was Tyson Jost, who gets a clean look, but Wallstedt gets his glove on it for the Wild. But just a tad over 5 minutes left to go in the first period. Luke Evangelista and Steven Stamkos play give and go, and Steven Stamkos gets the puck from Luke Evangelista, goes behind Wallstedt's net and waits, and then before Wallstedt can realize it, Stamkos comes out to his right and tucks it home. And the Preds with the all-important first goal of the game, as Paul McCann would say. His 40th of the season gives the Preds that all-important 1-0 lead. 40 goals for Steven Stamkos. Quite the accomplishment that he has reached multiple times in his career. For the Preds as a franchise, that's the 4th time in franchise history that a player has scored 40 goals in a season. Twice before by Forsberg. Let's see if he can do it a 3rd time this year, and previously done by Matt Duchene. Thanks to Nick Kieser on X, who reported that this is now the 8th time in Steven Stamkos' Hall of Fame career that he has scored 40 goals in a season. And with this goal, this moved Steven Stamkos within 3 of Jarome Iginla and Joel Sakic on the NHL all-time goal-scoring list. About a minute left in the first, the Wild with their best chance in the game thus far comes when former Pred Ryan Hartman to Annunen's left sets up Kirill Kaprizov on the back door, but Annunen gets over in time to make the save. Final seconds in the first period, Preds did pretty well for themselves. They have the lead and they outshot the Wild by the 2-1 margin in the first 20. The teams continue to trade chances early in the second period. At one point, a Wild player beats Annunen but can't beat the goal post, and then shortly thereafter, a good Preds rush results in Roman Josi showing that he's really good to go. He pinches in, gets a good chance, but the puck can't stay on his stick before he can get to the nets, and it goes wide, or else he would have had a really good scoring chance. Just over 6 minutes in, after surviving some Wild pressure in the Preds zone, it's the Preds' turn to turn up the volume in the Wild zone, keeping the Wild hemmed in, and right after Steven Stamkos got robbed on a one-timer by Jesper Wallstedt, the Preds keep it up. An initial shot by Stamkos gets stopped, but the rebound comes right to Matthew Wood. The kid makes no mistake, gives the Preds an insurance goal that they're really going to need come the third period. Preds leading now 2-0. The Matthew Wood's 17th goal of the season. 2 games left. It would be nice if he got 20, but that kid is really making a name for himself. With about 6 minutes left to go in the second period, Preds with a good cycle, resulting in a good clean look in the slot from Nick Perbix, but he gets robbed by Wallstedt's glove. Preds keeping up the pressure. Forsberg nearly gets that 3-0 goal, but oh god, Wallstedt is keeping the Wild in it. Fast forward to just under a minute left to go in the second period. Preds looking to finish off strong, which they do. The second intermission horn sounds. Preds have doubled their lead to 2-0 and are still doing well on the shot clock, having outshot the Wild in that second period 7-4 with 120-minute period we hope is all that's left in this game. And with the start of the third period, thus begins the longest period of our lives. Did I say longest period? It just felt like it, because the third period starts off with wonderful, stupendous news out of Los Angeles that the Los Angeles Kings have defeated the Edmonton Oilers 1-0 in regulation, meaning that before this game involving the Preds finishes, that the Kings move 3 points up on the Preds with even games played, meaning that the Kings are going to be back to having a game in hand, being 1 point up. The Edmonton Oilers, yes, I realize they're without Leon Draisaitl, but it was 1-0. You couldn't get me 1 goal and get this game to overtime to try and force the Kings to just get 1 point? After all these games that Connor McDavid has owned the Preds, he couldn't do us one little favor? Okay, I guess the Preds are going to have to take care of their own damn business. We've got all of the possible playoff scenarios to get to, but first things first, and that's winning the third period so the Preds can at least get 2 points to stay in the race. Once again, the hearts of everybody in Preds Nation beating out of their respective chest with every passing moment in that third period. 6 minutes into the third, I'll give the Preds credit. At this point, they were playing strong, defending well, as the Wild are looking for some way to penetrate to get themselves some chance to nip into the lead. I was so lucky, absolutely so lucky. Can you sense the sarcasm dripping from my lips? Having to endure this game on the Minnesota Wild feet, because one, they were sure to bring up multiple times the Preds lost earlier this season in Minnesota on a Marcus Johansson goal that they thought was completely okay, but we all know shouldn't have counted. Then they were also sure to bring up that the Wild are one of 3 teams not to be shut out against this year. And of course, that manifestation works for them. Almost 7 minutes into the third period, Justus Annunen will not be getting back-to-back shutouts in games that he plays, because Brodin gets a shot, and to Justus Annunen's right guess who, of all people, is right there to get the rebound when Annunen can't swallow up Brodin's initial shot? It's big sexy Michael McCarron who puts it home. Preds' shutout streak of Annunen's is over. Preds' lead is nipped into it a little bit as we're all going to clench our fists and our butts, leading now only 2-1. You all knew that this final 20 minutes wasn't going to be easy. Finish strong here, boys. Ryan O'Reilly would slash Brock Faber, and the Wild best chance on that comes late in it. Marcus Johansson is robbed on a one-timer by Justus Annunen. Preds successfully kill off Ryan O'Reilly's slashing means we're under 8 minutes left to go in regulation. Just over 7 minutes left to go in regulation. The Preds in their defensive zone. Brady Shea with perhaps his biggest brain fart of the season. Maybe I'll not say it's his biggest because it didn't result in a goal, but it could have. For some reason, he thinks in his mind it's okay in his own zone to pass cross ice to the captain, Roman Josi, and it gets intercepted by the Wild player. I'm sorry I don't know who it was because I didn't memorize it. I was just so ticked off, and he goes right in, and I think I'm staring down a 2-2 tie, and a shot goes wide. Thank you, hockey gods above. Preds need to cool themselves down and relax because a giveaway a short time after that nearly results in a 2-2 tie. Settle things down here, boys. 5 minutes left to go in regulation. John Hines pulls Jesper Wallstedt with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in regulation. There's a favorable whistle with about 90 seconds left to go in regulation. And the refs, with the help of Jonathan Marchessault, who, he hasn't scored as many goals as we'd like to this year, but he helps point out to the refs, and the Minnesota feed cannot deny it, that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Wild players on the ice, clearly away from their bench. You know what that means. Another John Hines, too many men on the ice. Thank you for paying it back after those years of John Hines of bad bench management. After an initial offensive face-off, because when you get a power play, you get to have a face-off in the opposing team's zone. The Wild pull Jesper Wallstedt. Philip Forsberg carries the puck out from a bad angle, but once again, Philip Forsberg's shot goes wide. I'd love to know the number of missed empty net chances that Philip Forsberg has had in his career. I argue it's probably at least 10. Then there's a terrible clear in a defensive zone by Roman Josi that nearly results in disaster, but the Preds get to stave off possible disaster and get an icing call. Preds would get the benefit of a Wild offside with 12 seconds left to go in regulation. Final face-off, clock winds down, horn sounds, and yes, it was far from easy. The Preds made it harder on themselves than they had to, but they got another win. They are still alive in the playoff hunt. I prefer that with a lead, if they have one, hopefully on Monday against the Sharks when they come to town for the Preds' second last game of the season, that the Preds don't let themselves get outshot 11-1, which is what the Wild did to them in that third period. I am so happy and feel so lucky that the Preds didn't blow it. Well, I guess the first things first that I need to mention to start off this summary of this game is good call, Coach Bruno, on starting Justus Annunen in net for this game. You do realize what this means, though, don't you, Bruno? Annunen had better start Monday against San Jose. He's the hot hand. We'll deal with whatever repercussions come from this goaltending decision and what's going on with the two of them once the offseason gets here. Now, I know what I mentioned last fan reaction video at the end of the Utah loss concerning the Kings, the Sharks, and the Jets, and the Preds' remaining schedule. But something occurred to me this afternoon looking at the complete Western Conference standings. If the Kings win out of their remaining games, they will finish with 93 points. If the Preds win out with their 2 remaining games, they'll finish with 90 points. They're out of the playoff runnings, right? Not so fast. Take a gander at the Pacific Division 2-3 matchup right now that has Vegas and Anaheim with 89 points each of them with 3 games remaining. If Los Angeles wins out and gets themselves to 93 points, if Vegas and Anaheim don't both win out, one of them is possibly falling into the wild card number 2 spot. Now let's just say neither Vegas or Anaheim gain any more points and stay stuck at 89. If Nashville wins out and gets to 90 points, one of those 2 teams is not going to be in the playoffs. And do you remember Nashville's remaining schedule this week? After San Jose on Monday, who did they play on Thursday? Nashville would have 88 points to an Anaheim team that possibly, let's see how the games shake out this week, might have 89 points coming into Bridgestone. On the last day of the season for the Nashville Predators, if this situation was to arise where the Nashville Predators have 88 points and the Anaheim Ducks have 89 points, or even if the Anaheim Ducks have 90 points, they could say the Preds win in regulation and get in on the tiebreaker, or if Anaheim has 89 points and Nashville has 88 points, any kind of a Preds victory in that game in regulation or overtime or the shootout gets the Preds in over the Ducks because thank you, regulation win tiebreaker. It's going to be a wild finish to this week and the season. So I hope the heart rate of everyone in Preds Nation is now back down to normal beating rate. That is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching as always. Click a like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Thank you to everyone so far who has clicked subscribe. I just passed 500 subscribers, halfway to 1,000. You can find my social media and interact with me during every crucial Preds game down the stretch here by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about redemption. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. Perhaps UC Saros will get his redemption, but for now it is useless and it is Crease. Don't miss a chance. Oh, it's going to be so glorious to one day witness redemption.